you think that Kanye West eats for breakfast?
I like to think that he somehow still has Oreo Cheerios,
Yeah.
the Oreos, and he eats them with whole
Wait,
milk.
you mean Oreos?
No. Do you remember the cereal Oreos?
Oh, Oreos.
Yeah, they were really good.
Oreos were like
I like to think that he still has them in a perfect world, and he likes to eat them with whole milk. But Kim doesn't like that because it has a lot of fat in it.
Now, you see, I think of him more of a 2% man.
2%?
I like a 2% milk.
Why would you think that in that whole?
Because, it's a little classier. Like, you're a better person if you have 2% milk. Am I right, listeners?
Yeah, but it's Kanye West, and he has to have his nutrients.
It's true.
You might interrupt his creative process if he doesn't.
Yeah, I guess he needs that whole milk. He needs all the milk to get all those lyrics out.
Do you think he takes a multivitamin in the morning?
Yeah, he probably takes that and probably stares in the mirror and says a mantra like "You got today" or something like that. And he goes out and slays.
Huh. Okay.
And welcome to Franchise Friends, episode 6. I'm your host, Tyler Costel. And join with me, as always, is the beautiful
Kate Strollo.
Kate, what have you been up to this week?
Oh,
Let
my
me
God.
hear about your life.
Thanks for interrupting me,
I'm sorry.
Donald Trump.
Listen, we just watched the debate. Yeah, we just
right.
watched the debate, and it's pretty aggressive.
I wouldn't compare you to Donald Trump. I take that back. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I feel like I'm a pretty decent person.
You are.
Thank you. Well, as long as we're agreeing about that, let's it's as always, we hope you all out there will subscribe to our podcast and follow us on YouTube or on our iTunes. We really need a couple reviews would be nice. Throw it our way.
And don't forget that we're now also on Google Play. And
Guys,
we are now available on Stitcher as well. We're
doing our best. We want to give you our voice every which way we can. And this comes back to you. Give us a nice little, like on iTunes, right?
You can write some nice comments. You can refer us to a friend.
Or you could also recommend a future franchise because we are always up for anything, honestly.
Exactly. Or you can even throw some shade and talk some shit because, as always, you can reach me at Kate Strolls on both Twitter and Instagram. And
I'm at These Things Inspires on Instagram, and you can find me there. And, we'll have links at the end of this. But honestly, can I tell you a secret? I'm really excited for October.
Why are you excited for October, Tyler?
Because it's such a great excuse to watch a bunch of horror movies.
That's true. That's true. I'm also really excited because this will be our first October in Los Angeles, so it won't be 30 degrees.
That's true. But for me, it always comes back to that classic.
Yeah.
All right, I have an excuse to tell people, hey, it's Friday night. Instead of going to a bar, what if we watched Halloween? Or another horror movie? Think of all the good movies we watched last year in Philly with all our friends. We had like a horror movie club Friday.
Yeah, we watched...
Unfriended was one of them.
We watched Unfriended.
Awesome.
What else did we watch?
I feel like we watched a ton. I can't even remember any of them.
Did we watch The Gallows? No, I don't think
we watched Unfriended. We watched that vampire movie where it was from Ireland. What was that?
The movie was really good.
What was that called? Let the Dark In, or... We'll come back to that.
Yeah.
Anyway, October is an awesome time to just... And we're going to come out with a new episode each week on a different horror franchise. And that's kind of why I'm excited. Because it's an excuse to watch some fun movies. I love horror movies.
Both old and new.
Oh, yeah.
I'm a little disappointed, though. I feel like this October's release schedule doesn't have that... doesn't really have a lot of horror coming out. There's a couple in the last week of October.
Almost none.
There's Ouija. There's 31.
Yeah, Ouija's coming out.
What else?
The Accountant with Ben Affleck.
Oh my god. You're in so much debt. Spoopy.
I've been going over your papers and everything seems all right. I just need you to sign this. I've got a sniper rifle. Yeah, it seems like his I want to be Jason Bourne. But come on, Ben, you're already Batman. Relax. Just get what? Like you're looking at me like I'm insane. Like he should just concentrate on being Batman right now.
I don't even know what that movie's about.
Yeah.
Is he solving crime with math?
I think he's really good at math.
Yeah.
And he can shoot a gun.
Okay.
So he's probably a hitman.
And he uses mathematical equations to shoot people in the head.
He also knows who owes him what or who owes who what.
Do you think he keeps a little spreadsheet?
I'm going to bet that towards the end of the movie, he can think his way out of a room and scenario even without a gun. We'll see it when it's on Netflix.
Yeah.
I guess. That's kind of usually how those movies end up, right?
Yeah, it's just we're not gonna go pay for that movie.
Well,
but we won't torrent it either.
Yeah, we're in the Netflix age.
Yeah.
Like Netflix has everything. Like Zootopia is on Netflix this week.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's cool.
It's a fun little romp.
Probably never gonna watch that again, but that's cool.
All right. Well, I'm terrible at segues. Let's just move on to trailers.
Let's talk about some stuff we did watch this week, though.
Oh my God, Kate! Great idea.
Tyler, do you want to share what we saw?
We had the pleasure of going to the world premiere of The Birth of a Nation, Nate Parker's Nat Turner biopic that he wrote, directed, produced, and all around just kind of owned, acted in.
I thought it was great.
Yeah.
I thought the movie was beautifully done. I thought the acting was phenomenal. It was great direction. It was great writing, great dialogue. The costuming and the design for the period in time was amazing.
It was really fresh. Like,
Yeah.
as a independent film, it felt like a true, I don't know, story film.
I felt the characters were really brought to life. You know, other movies that have dove into similar territory of that time period,
Yeah.
slavery, things like that. They're either just not that interesting to watch, it's hard to connect with, or it's the complete opposite where it's just such a hard movie to get through because of the context. But I felt this movie had such a happy medium where it was a very difficult movie, but at the same time it was just I thought it was beautiful.
It was the actors, honestly.
Yeah, the
Like,
actors
these
really brought it
characters.
to life.
It was one of the most emotional films I've seen all year.
Very emotional.
So far, this is one of the top films of the year. I know we just did our 2016 or halfway through review, but I wish we had seen this before doing that because this would top the charts. In directing, acting, it was a phenomenal film. I remember having chills, just goosebumps at certain scenes, and
Yeah.
Not like spoiler, but the last shot alone was one of the best things I've seen all year. It was cool.
Yeah, definitely the first Oscar contender of the season. I will be shocked if this doesn't get nominated.
Yeah,
Has
I
to.
would imagine, right?
Absolutely has to.
Has to. Because what are the other big movies coming out? I haven't really heard much.
Scorsese has a movie coming out.
Yeah.
Apparently.
The
I don't know. I got to school myself on what's coming out in the rest of the year that's not like Assassin's Creed and Marvel and Star Wars and all that fun stuff.
Well, we did just see a couple trailers. If we want to talk about those,
We did.
So these are upcoming films we could probably talk about. Because now it's time for trailers. Okay, do a theme song. Could you sing us a theme song?
I'm not going to sing us a theme
Do
song
one
now.
little tune. Just give me a toot.
Toot toot.
Trailers.
Do 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 do. Trailers. So
That's it. No, that was perfect. I love it. We are using every second of that.
okay. So a movie I'm really excited for, and I really, really love the trailer for, The Girl on the Train.
The Girl in the Train.
In the train or on the train?
I would expect on.
On the Train, the movie with Emily Blunt.
Yeah, the Tate Taylor directed piece.
Yeah, got a lot of Gone Girl vibes from this one.
Yeah, not even because of the word girl in the title.
Yeah.
I honestly got a girl with the dragon tattoo vibe.
Yeah, maybe.
I mean, I guess.
It's a lot of mystery.
Well, as a fan of true crime, I know this isn't based on anything, but it feels like more of a real thriller than, we're so used to so many movies that are paranormal or something extraordinary. This movie looks to be like a good what's going on, grounded in reality movie.
Yeah, based on the trailer alone, I have no idea what this is really about. I have somewhat of an idea, but at the same time, I really, really want to go see this movie.
It seems scandalous.
Yeah, lots of scandal. I also just love Emily Blunt. I really like her as an actress. I think she's great.
Yeah, I don't think I've ever seen her in a role I didn't like her in.
Yeah, she's just such a badass to me.
Yeah, she's top right now. There's something about this movie though. I'm not sure about it. I will be interested to actually see it.
Yeah.
But I'm a little hesitant. I don't know. I don't see like what it's gonna all. It kind of looks like a Tyler Perry melodrama. A little bit because it's so like.
You're calling The Girl on the Train. You're comparing that to a Tyler Perry movie.
Is that rude?
That's very rude.
No, I'm saying that it looks.
That makes zero. I'm sorry. That makes zero sense for you to do that.
All right, then let's just get that. I don't know. I'm excited to see what it's like, but I kind of have reservations for it. What do you think?
Just in the overall story and how it's going to pay off.
Yeah, I want to see what it is. I did love Gone Girl though, and it is definitely giving those vibes. But let's see if they can pull it off.
True.
Yeah. Well, the other trailer that we saw this week was Hacksaw Ridge, the new Mel Gibson film that apparently got a 10-minute standing ovation after its first world premiere. I don't really know if I believe that because imagine even just clapping for a minute, you would never last 10 minutes.
Unless your hands would hurt.
Unless the credits were 10 minutes long and then they were...
Like, that just wouldn't be comfortable.
Yeah. It would also be awkward.
Yeah.
I think we learned that the other night at that premiere. It was like, wow, this was a beautiful, great film, but everyone's clapped enough. Yeah. We clapped for a while. 10 minutes feels like impossible. Yeah. What do you think about this? It's Mel Gibson's like comeback. We got Andrew Garfield in a leading man role, his first movie since Spider-Man, or it seems like it anyway.
So I'm just going to preface it with this, which makes me a little bit biased. I don't like Andrew Garfield. I don't think he's that great of an actor.
Did you like him in...
I don't think he's that good looking of a person. I'm sorry, but I don't think he is.
What about in The Social Network?
Yeah, I think he was good in that.
Do you think that came down to directing, like David Fincher?
Probably.
Because he's really good in that movie.
I hated him as Superman. Not Superman.
Spider-Man.
Wow, Spider-Man, Christ.
He chews up the scenery.
Yeah.
I really liked his Spider-Man when you didn't see, like, Andrew Garfield. I liked actual Spider-Man. I did not like Peter Parker. You know, do you get what I'm saying?
Yeah, maybe it was a directing issue.
Like,
I don't know.
Parker
I'm weary of him. Let's just put it that way. I'm weary of him.
All right.
And I don't know. This trailer was kind of corny to me.
It feels like a 90s movie that's coming out now.
Yeah.
Do you get what I'm saying?
Like they rebooted Saving Private Ryan.
Yeah, it feels like the poor man Saving Private Ryan. Like, I'm not going to fire a gun throughout World War II, but I'm going to save all these guys.
Who is this? What's the audience?
Yeah,
that's another thing.
I think Oscar people.
Oscar people. That is an audience. Yeah.
Yeah, they're going to get this DVD in the mail.
True.
Yeah. They're going to have to look at this and go, well, that was a great World War II movie. Mm-hmm. America. Listen, we're a country divided right now. And we need a strong movie to bring us all back together.
Yeah, got a nationality.
Is it a anti-gun movie? Because he won't carry a gun into
Oh, wow.
battle.
What do you think about that?
Is it a pro-gun movie because guns win wars?
I guess we're going to have to watch to find
Oh my
out,
God.
Tyler.
We're going to have to watch. And it's going to be like 3 hours long.
Yeah.
When you see titles that say, from the director of Braveheart, and
Yeah, I'm just going to wait until this is
The
on
Patriot,
Netflix.
you're like, oh my God.
We're going to wait for that moment.
Yeah, this definitely feels like a February Netflix release. You know what I mean?
Yep.
Because it'll be after Christmas. It'll come out. It'll be after the Oscars. One Sunday morning, I'll be making eggs and bacon, and you'll say, hey, Tyler, Hacksaw Ridge is on Netflix. You want to watch it? Yeah, remember we talked about that? Let's watch it.
And then that's how we'll spend our Sunday, and it'll be great.
I bet you will love it. It'll be great.
Maybe.
Should we go into our franchise of the week?
Maybe we should.
I mean, I feel ready. I feel like where I should be in my life.
Yeah.
Yeah. So on the count of three, we got to do a new intro song for our franchise series. Ready? 1, 2, 3. Franchise.
What do you want me? How do you want to transition this?
Let's just move over into Mark Wahlberg.
Should we do like a little sketch? You're like, you know what I keep seeing all over the city? Or you know what I really have a hankering for?
Yeah.
A wall.
Well, you know what, Kate? I just drove home, and you know what I saw on the way here?
What'd you say?
14 billboards for one movie, Deepwater Horizon. You got Mark Wahlberg's beautiful face just standing in a cloud of oily smoke. You know he's going to save a bunch of people. We got the director of Lone Survivor, that I think military movie where, spoiler alert, only Mark Wahlberg makes it out because he's the lone survivor.
Oh.
Yeah. So in this movie, he's the deep water, and his hairline is the horizon. He's deep water. And he saves the day from the oil rig burning that happened a couple years back. Remember that? Remember how much oil rigs were in the news?
Yeah. We're sorry.
It felt like a new news story every other week about oil rigs.
Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah, they were hot for a moment.
They're really hot in the worst way possible.
Oh my God, I just realized what I said. Oh, RIP. No disrespect to the families and victims out there. Anyway, this movie looks... Well, what do you think? I have a soft spot for these movies because I like a good action hero. Just, I'm here to save the day. I'm going to see my family again. We're going to get through this hard time. I do like a good, happy, triumphant story. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it reminded me of when he did The Perfect Storm.
Yeah, that's a good way.
Except, that time, they all died in the end. But
well, here's the scary part. I don't know what happens in this movie. I was thinking about that. I was
don't know.
Oh, what is the ending?
We don't know.
Yeah, spoiler for The Perfect Storm, Kate. You don't know who's listening to this. There could be a 7-year-old boy who's like, I want to listen to the Mark Wahlberg episode of Franchise Friends, and now you just spoiled The Perfect Storm. That's rude. Oh my God.
I know. Well, Mark Wahlberg, he's such a versatile man. His Wahlburger franchise that we saw in Philly before moving out here, that he owns with his brothers. Is that correct?
Yeah. I think they have a show.
And they have a show. Yeah. He's just he just keeps up so well, and he has so many movies.
Yeah, so we thought it would be a good idea this is our first week of a actor franchise. Now, we are your franchise friends, and every now and then we're going to jump off and do these different types of franchises. So instead of doing the normal just film series, we'll be jumping into a different artists or actors or directors line of work and see what they've done. So our first choice this time was obviously Mark Wahlberg because of Deepwater. Mark Wahlberg. Because of Deepwater Horizon coming out, it would make sense if we had covered Lone Survivor, but we didn't. I will spoil it right now. We covered the movies Max Payne and The Happening. They both came out in 2008, and they were both
beautiful dumpster fires.
Oh, and we'll get to that. But before we jump into that, what is your favorite Mark Wahlberg movie?
Oh my God, you just put me on the spot with that.
I know. I was thinking about that the whole time. I was like, all right.
I do like Boogie Nights.
Yeah. It is actually pretty great.
He's been my memory of Mark Wahlberg is just a lot of really like not necessarily what I call my favorite movies, but just a lot of derpy movies. You know, he was in that movie Rockstar, all the Ted movies, the Transformers movies.
My brother Kyle was in a bunch of bands, and growing up, I used to sleep over his house. I remember I watched the movie Rockstar, thinking that was like his life, because I was young at the time. And you know what's funny? I don't remember anything about that movie except for the scene where he has the girl take a piece of ice and put it on his nipple so he can pierce his nipple. Because the whole scene is like close-ups. It's a really weird scene.
It's just his nipple
for a young kid.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, this is on cable? Wow. Yeah. I mean, I felt like, you know what's funny? We were forced to watch the movies we had to grow up with.
Yeah, you don't have TNT, choices like they do now. We just had to see what was rerunning on TBS.
Netflix is mind-blowing if you think about it.
It really is. Anything on demand.
I think my favorite Mark Wahlberg movie, that's a really tough one because I'm going to go The Departed.
Oh.
I think that's his. He has such a funny role in that movie. Every single time I see it, it's a little more and more I catch on to like his acting style. Like I can imagine the day on set, he's like giving 110%. He's going overboard. It's a really good movie. I think he's good at playing a cop, which is good reason because in our first movie that we covered this week, which was Max Payne, he plays a cop. Where Max Payne is a maverick cop, a mythic anti-hero, determined to track down those responsible for the brutal murders of his family and partner. Hellbent on revenge, his obsessive investigation takes him on a nightmare journey into a dark underworld. As the mystery deepens, Max is forced to battle enemies beyond the natural world and face an unthinkable betrayal. This movie,
oh dear God,
was one of the hardest films we've had to watch so far. It's one of the worst movies I've ever seen.
This was such a Sin City knockoff movie.
Yeah.
That you'd find in the like 99-cent bin.
That's kind of the best way to put it. It looked like someone said, hey, let's rip off 300 and Sin City at the same time.
With a touch of Constantine.
But not do any of the good parts.
Yeah.
Like, let's do something that feels like it, but never anything memorable or good. Not to be haters. I feel like on this show, we do hate a lot, but we do really love movies.
Yeah.
And this movie just was bad.
I mean, from the premise, I was kind of down to see it. You got Mark Wahlberg, Mila Kunis. It looked like it was maybe sci-fi, paranormal. So I was like, all right, this might be, at least for a fun ride, but no.
Yeah, it looked kind of like it was going to be like a knockoff Zack Snyder action movie. Like I was down. I was ready for it. But in the end, it was... I remember halfway through the movie, I was hoping that it was almost over. I couldn't get through it.
Yeah, and what was weird is I feel like they set the movie up to be very sci-fi and paranormal, where they were doing the thing with the shadows with the like demons and all that stuff, but then it gets revealed that it's more of a cop drama and there's drugs involved.
Yeah,
and
they're
people
kind of like
saw
on
things they shouldn't
peyote.
have seen.
They're like on Adderall peyote. I guess.
It just took like a weird turn.
And the weird part is, it was supposed to be such a gruesome movie, but it was only PG-13.
Yeah, I think that's probably what kind of hurt them too, is because it could have been like at least weird.
It could have been a cool R-rated movie.
Yeah, it could have been cool.
That's kind of what I'm excited for, a new Spawn remake. Have you ever seen the HBO show of Spawn?
You know what? I haven't.
We might have to watch that. We might
Let's
even
do it.
cover that as a franchise because it is
it dope?
phenomenal. Yeah,
Yeah.
you'll love it.
Do love
and that's
sci-fi.
what kind of this could have been. It has all the workings of a cool storyline. This not Daredevil, Punisher-esque character who's going out for revenge of his murdered wife and little baby. He came home and he unfortunately went to get orange juice and said check on his wife, and he was too late. She was dead. But he killed like a bunch of people. Like, that's his backstory.
Yeah.
You have a good dark story here. It's like an anti-hero. It's a good like anti-Batman. But the movie itself, like, what do you remember? What was your favorite scene of the whole movie? I don't even think I have one.
The scenes where he was tripping really cracked me up. Those ones at the end where he just took as much of those drugs as he could and was just seeing some crazy shit.
Oh,
The
yeah.
CGI,
because it, like,
I'm not
helped
gonna
him.
lie, the CGI was kind of interesting to watch, but
He kept taking drugs, and he was remarkably better with handguns.
yeah.
That was kind of the...
Well, that was the point of the drug, was to make you into a super soldier. So he's like, I'm gonna take 5 doses of this.
Yeah, I can't even really remember a favorite scene from this movie. I feel like I'm being too cynical, but for the most part, I'm very lenient on movies. I always see a reason to watch them. I mean,
Yeah.
you always catch me just watching the dumbest movie. You'll be like, Tyler, what are you watching? I'm like, oh, it's this movie. It's not that great. And you're like, why are you watching it then? I'm like, because I
give it
want to
the benefit.
respect it. I want to
Yeah.
give it the benefit of the doubt. People worked on this. This movie, it just doesn't work.
I keep forgetting that Mila Kunis is in it. I just
Oh
don't
my
feel.
God, you're right.
Yeah, you forgot right there, didn't you?
Yeah, honestly.
I feel like her character was just so forced into this movie. Like,
What
if
happened
she
to my
didn't exist,
sister?
there would have been no change to the plot. Yet she was in probably about a third of the movie.
I'm a Russian mob boss. What happened to my sister?
Any chance they can get to give her a role where she speaks Russian, I swear.
It was on par with her role in Jupiter Ascending.
Yes.
Like, if we have to be real.
Sorry, Mila.
Yeah, new agent, I think is the term.
Yeah.
I don't know, you can look that up in the
New
dictionary,
agent.
but
It's about that time.
I feel like a late night show host. All right, I think, guys, give us your comments. Let us know what you think about Max Payne. We'll talk more about it if you have any questions. But honestly, is there anything more you could say about this movie? Right? Like, I want to talk more about it, but
But you know what Mark Wahlberg movie I do want to talk to you about?
what Mark Wahlberg movie? Do you
Transform. No, I'm just.
Thank God.
no.
My daughter
no.
has a over.
E=MC square.
Do you remember that the boyfriend from that Transformers movie had a card on him at all time that had the federal laws for statutory rape in Texas? Because he was like, look, it's not illegal what I'm doing with your daughter, because he was too old, but the daughter was like only 17, but he carried that around in his wallet.
That's weird. I
Yeah,
don't
that was a
remember that.
real scene.
That's really weird.
Guys, this is a real scene in a children's movie. He carried the card. Okay, I'm sorry. I'm going to freak out, but we are talking about Mark Wahlberg.
I'm gonna freak out.
I don't want to shout into our microphones, but honestly, go to that movie. I'm not lying to you. That's a scene that happens. Someone sat down in a writer's room and said, hey, we should probably put this in the movie, and nobody stopped him. That's the type of world we're living in. Anyway, what's that movie that you wanted to talk about?
Side note, I want to talk about The Happening.
Bum, bum, bum. You could sense it. You saw the signs. You were living in a village. and a lady in the water said, "Hey, it's happening."
That was really good.
That was kind of the marketing that they went with. I think the first two were real, where it's like you sensed it, you saw the sign.
Yeah. Well, you know what?
At the time, this movie was advertised as M. Night Shyamalan's first R-rated movie. Like, that was a big deal because he was so hot at the moment.
Yeah, and I think the marketing around it was done really well. There was some really dope advertising, some really dope creative. The posters were
some of the best posters I've ever seen. I'm to this day tempted to buy that freeway poster where you just kind of see like the empty buggy, and in the distance you see like a city on fire, and it just says "The Happening."
Yeah,
that's awesome.
Yeah,
that's great sci-fi.
I remember being really excited for this movie, and then when it came out, I didn't see it because everyone told me not to. So I actually didn't see the movie for several years.
I went to a midnight screening with my brother David
and
like his high school friends. I was kind of
so cool.
I know. I was the little kid. I loved it. I think this was the first movie that I ever saw in theaters and honestly thought, wow, this is rough. This is hard to get through. It had such a good build-up that what it actually came out to be, it just didn't match what it could have been. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But you know what I'm gonna say is that after all these years, you always hear like the biggest joke is that The Happening is the worst movie ever made. It's like the dumbest movie ever made. After watching it again years later, a little more fresh palate, and after watching the train wreck that was Max Payne, I enjoyed this movie. I kind of liked it. It reminded me of an episode of Black Mirror. It reminded me of an episode of like The Twilight Zone. I had just done a whole Twilight Zone binge like a couple of days before. So seeing this was kind of a cool modern twist on that. If you had cut a half hour of that movie out and only made it 60 minutes, probably would have worked a little bit better.
Yeah, I think a lot of people, when it initially came out, the complaint was, oh, this is dumb. The plants did it. Oh, like they're making fun of that plot. But I could very easily see this on Black Mirror or as like a little horror short.
If you take it a little more seriously, that's a cool...
This very easily could be a something. It's not...
It's a cool storyline.
Yeah, it's not a dumb premise.
The planet...
I've seen dumber.
The planet is turning on us.
Yeah, it is. It actually kind of is, to be honest. Global warming.
Exactly. So, it's a different form of global warming or like an inconvenient truth. Exactly.
We don't have like any polar bears left.
That's what's shocking about this is that it's actually a cool idea. Yeah. It just needed a couple more passes on the script, and honestly, it was miscast, I think.
What was your biggest casting complaint? Who would you switch out?
You know what? A lot of people would argue that it's hard to believe Mark Wahlberg as a science teacher, but I would keep him and replace Zooey Deschanel. She just felt not right.
So weak.
I think, like, we just kind of watched the trailer for The Girl on the Train, and Emily Blunt as that character. Give me someone who can do a little more with it. Mark Wahlberg is rough to get through with this movie. I'm not going to lie. But at a certain point, you kind of accept it, and there are moments that you can see they had a cool idea for it. One of my favorite scenes is... they're in the middle of the field, and every which way, different survivors are like, well, it came from that way. It came from that way. Oh, my God, that group over there is killing themselves. So you can hear them in the distance shooting themselves in the head. And they're all asking Mark Wahlberg, what do we do? What are we supposed to do? Because he's the lead of the group, and it keeps cutting like as a close-up shot of him to a close-up shot of someone else. And he keeps just going, give me a second. Let me answer. Hold on. Just give me a moment. Hold on. Okay. You got to think about math. Hold on. Just give me a moment here. Guys, we're going to figure this out. Say hi to my mother for me. I kind of like that tension. There was there's a cool idea there. I don't think it was executed in the best way.
Yeah.
But there are fun ideas in this movie. The whole suicide idea of like a poison that makes people kill themselves. It's different. It's not zombies. I'm so tired of zombie apocalypse. I'm so tired of vampire apocalypse or mutant apocalypse or superhero movies. This movie had a real life, what if this is what started to happen? Everybody just started killing themselves around you. Which is kind of one of the coolest scenes in Rittenhouse Square, where the girl like takes out the bobby pin from her neck and starts stabbing herself in the neck. Or was that Central Park?
I think was it the opening scene? Because that was Central Park. Yeah.
I always thought that was Rittenhouse Square, but it started in Central Park.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Rittenhouse is where they all pass the gun around, which I actually thought was a really cool scene.
That
was probably my favorite scene in that whole entire movie is how they show the gun being passed around and people killing themselves.
That's a really well done scene.
Yeah.
It's almost beautiful. Just like the camera technique and just following the gun. Yeah. And the methodical way that this virus kills you is so scary. It's not chaos. It's very patiently thought out and it's done. I think that is a lot scarier than like a zombie running at you and like everyone screaming.
Yeah.
This was all silence until someone killed themselves and then the next person. That's horrifying. Because imagine watching this and not having the virus. You'd be like, what is happening? Like, one of my favorite scenes is the construction worker who kind of looks up and goes, they're talking like, oh, yeah, we're going to go out to the bar later, right, Jimmy? And then you just hear, Phew. And you're like, what the fuck? Was that Rodriguez?
Yeah.
And he looks over someone's dead body, and then another person's body falls. And then he looks up, and all these people are just walking off, like, the top floor. This movie has so many good moments like that. You have a cool idea. It just, I don't think it was executed the best way.
Yeah.
If anything, this could make a good remake. Sorry, you go on.
That's okay. Yeah. Well, that's actually what I was going to say is like, I almost wouldn't be mad if someone rebooted it with a brand new cast and a brand new direction.
What would you do with it?
Oh, I don't know.
What were some of your favorite parts of it?
Well, I just told you.
Oh, yeah.
That scene was definitely my favorite. I like John Leguizamo's character. I mean, I think that was probably one of my biggest complaints is that, people are killing themselves around you. And I don't think a lot of the characters really had a sense of urgency. Like, that was my biggest gripe of Zooey J. Chanel. She was just always, oh, my God, there's people dying.
She was very wide-eyed the whole movie.
And it's like, there's people fucking dying. Like, I'd be losing a freaking casket. And I feel like John Leguizamo was the only one who was at that level because he had a child. His wife was somewhere. She was in a city where the virus or whatever it was affecting the population.
And didn't he head to his kid because it got attacked by the virus and he was like, I have to go now? Or
yeah, he's going to his wife.
And his spoilers, obviously, but his death scene is one of the most traumatic moments of the movie. I have a hard time watching it every time I see it.
Yeah.
Because not only you see that he's cool because his character does these like mathematical problems throughout the movie to make sure everybody's still sane. He'll ask like a math problem like, if two guys go into the bathroom and then one comes out, how many men are in the bathroom? You're like, well, one. Okay, you're not a zombie yet.
Yeah.
That's a bad version of it, but like, you know what I'm saying. What are you doing? Yeah. He's in his bed.
Oh. Yeah.
But John Leguizamo is doing these math equations to make sure everybody's still normal. And then that's kind of what he's doing when he looks up and sees that there's a cut in the Jeep that he's in.
Yeah.
So air is coming in and he knows he's about to get affected. Because weren't there like hanging bodies in the trees above them?
I forget if it was that scene, but they definitely did see like some shit.
Yeah, and the car just comes to a stop. We have this wide shot of this Jeep just in the middle of the road. It's not moving. And then all of a sudden it just hits the pedal to the floor, crashes into a tree. John Leguizamo comes flying out the windshield. He still survives that, gets up, picks up a piece of glass and starts cutting his wrist. That's a hard scene to watch.
Yeah.
Yeah. Probably cut that part down.
Yeah.
I've been rambling a lot.
It's okay.
But go on. So, who would you change? How would you change the casting? If you could have one casting change, what would you do?
I'd agree with you. I would change Zooey Deschanel's character.
Yeah. Yeah. She seems a little out of it.
Yeah. But then again, I can't tell if that was just the direction.
It's true.
Because I do like her and other, stuff that she's worked on. So
I'm not
maybe
saying
she
she's
just
bad.
wasn't. Yeah,
I'm just
maybe she
saying,
just
like-
wasn't directed the way that she should have been.
Yeah, I think he kind of wanted a damsel in distress, and it just kind of didn't work out.
Yeah, it didn't work
Yeah.
out for that.
But
yeah.
it had good. Yeah, we talked about a lot about it. But I think with The Happening, it gets a lot of bad press. I mean, we talked about this in the beginning. I would tell everyone out there to give it a second watch. It's not as bad the second time around. Kind of know where it's going. I
Yeah.
give movies lenient passes. I'll watch anything.
Yeah.
What do you think? What would you give this out of 10? Would you recommend people to watch this or no?
I wouldn't tell someone to go out of their way to watch this movie.
Yeah.
If you're just looking for like a dumb sci-fi movie, I'd suggest putting it on. I definitely don't think it's as bad as people made it out. People really hated this movie.
They
and
think
I
that
wouldn't say
every
that I
scene is
hated
like
it.
laughable, and I wanted to laugh at it, but I kind of got into it because of how bad Max Payne was.
Yeah, maybe that's why we liked it, because we saw Max Payne.
If
and
you
then we
had to
watched this
choose
movie.
one movie, would you do Max Payne or The
Definitely
Happening?
The Happening.
100 times?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So at the end of the day, I don't think The Happening was a great movie. I think it was a kind of a cool idea that just was not executed well at all.
Then you heard it here, folks, from the franchise friends. I think our franchise winner is The Happening for Mark Wahlberg. I would rather watch this
Yeah.
than even than some of his other movies. Like, do you really want to see Daddy's Home?
No, I really don't.
Yeah, exactly.
Or what about that derpy movie he was in? His like first movie, Fear.
Oh, Fear?
Yeah.
I kind of wanted to watch Fear.
It's so stupid.
It looks cool.
It's
It
so
looks
ridiculous.
cool.
It's so ridiculous.
It looks like Jason Bourne before Jason Bourne. He
Jason
kind of
Bourne's
yeah.
weird uncle.
It's American Jason. Well, Jason Bourne is American. Never mind.
Yeah.
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 So, you have any movies you want to see this week? You have any recommendations?
Ooh, what's coming out this week?
I believe Blackwater Horizon or
Blackwater
Deepwater.
Blackwater.
So you know what that means, Kate, is that after this episode, we get to kick off Halloween season because it's October.
Shit.
Spooky, spooky, spooky.
Time to get spoopy up in here.
Can you give me your best ghost impression?
Ooh.
Ooh. We're going to be watching horror movies all month long.
A shit ton of horror movies. So
'Cause I
send
love
us
horror
your
movies.
suggestions, please, both old and new.
And we want to hear from you guys. Please subscribe. Please tell your friends. Even if you don't like us, just tell your friends anyway. Tell your enemies if you don't like us. That way they have to listen to something you don't like. And as always, you can reach me on Twitter at @TyCostal and on Instagram at These Things Inspire.
And you can reach me on both Twitter and Instagram at Kate Strolls. Or Kate's Trolls, as some people like to say.
Kate Trolls, yeah.
Kate Strolls.
You have a bunch of trolls.
Strolls is my nickname in high school. A little bit.
I should take a note out of your book. That's much easier to say. I have to say all these words, and oh my god! But please give us a follow. Give us a subscription here. We really want to hear back from you. And thanks again for listening.
Later.
Ooh.
Goodbye.
Bye. I'm a ghost.